you can share your apps, improve your reach of other people, and increase engagement. So your app can share to many of your users' friends and vice versa. So this is quite a powerful function for Facebook Graph API. So the next thing you all might be familiar with is the create cross-platform games. Some of you know Farmville and games like that. Most of these games actually utilize the Graph Facebook API to allow users to add friends from Facebook and communicate with them and receive notifications. So these are some of the use cases for Facebook Graph API. So you can consider using this in your application to leverage again your competition. So this might be a very interesting idea for you to catch on. So now what does this Graph API help you do? So it basically allows you to interact between your application and Facebook. You can access social data, that is to say your friends list, your friends' wall posts, your friends' photos, your wall posts, and other public information like pages and stuff like that. So as you all know, every single day new pages are coming out, for regardless of whether new shops are coming up or new societies are growing. All of these users tend to create new pages for Facebook. So if your app has integrated with Facebook, you technically have the ability to access new information in real time. Anytime, any place, you're able to get new information, whether is it a second ago or a minute ago. So with this, you are able to reach more people, and one thing good about the Graph API, it is cross-platform. When we say cross-platform, it means that you're able to access on Android, on iOS, Windows Phone, on the web, or any technology that allows you to access the internet. So just a brief introduction on Facebook API is actually a REST service. So for those who don't know what is a REST service, it means that it's actually a URL that allows you to send and receive data from Facebook. Just specify what URL you want and you're able to access the content that you require. So this is one example of what a REST service is. So this Facebook Graph API allows you to get, post and put operations on Facebook and your app. Let's just say you can actually search for data, you can actually update your data on Facebook, or you can create content on Facebook, like updating your wall post, adding a comment, or just putting a new wall post or upload a picture. So these are all done through the Facebook Graph API. So as you can see that on the picture below, you see that all the different apps from different platforms, like the web, iOS, Android, Windows Phone, Windows, utilizes the Graph API as a means of communication to Facebook. So Facebook will serve requests by your applications. So since this Graph API is free, one of the good news is that it is free. It requires you to have authentication so that applications won't spam the requests from Facebook. So this authentication is called access tokens, which is needed to access the service. So let us look at how do we actually start by using this. So the easiest way is to directly go to developers.facebook.com and create your new application there. You need to use your application to connect with Facebook. So make sure that your user is verified by your phone number and you are able to create an app instantly. So like I said before, all the applications that require access to Facebook, especially user content, must be authenticated. As you can see from this screenshot, this application requires you to authenticate before it accesses your information. For example, you can see that this application will receive your following information: your public profile, your name, email, etc., and your friends list, so that the users will know that what is Facebook is trying to access and what is your app trying to access from Facebook. So there are many ways to do authentication. One way is by JavaScript if you're doing web applications. The other way, you can use the Facebook C# SDK. if you are developing on Windows Phone or Windows 8. So just to let you see an example of the developers.facebook, you can look here. So this is the Facebook developers. You can see that it's pretty much very simple, and to be able to start using it, you can actually check out the documents. Now, if you click on the documents, there are plenty of documents that allow you to use Facebook, how they actually leverage on the graph API functions. So you can go through these documents and learn what is useful for you, especially on what your platform you are developing on. So since this is Magic Cup, I will assume most of you are developing on web, Windows Phone and Windows Store. So you can look at the developer's account, and here you can create your new applications. So I just click on this. It's very simple, just create your new app and you're able to access your app information. Let me just give you a rough idea how it looks like. So for my company, we have developed one app called the iConnect 360. So it allows users to use this application to ease up the process of signing up. So this is, once you create an application, you'll be able to access this information. So with this information, you can actually set up your application to access what kind of information. For example, if you look at the settings, you will see that you can add a new platform to what you want to develop on. If you're doing for Windows app, you can choose Windows app. If you're doing on Windows Phone, the website will be enough, and there are plenty of other supports, for example, Xbox and PlayStation. So through this, you can actually manage what kind of permissions you want to allow your application to receive, and what kind of data you can access from a user's account. So as you can see, this configure app center permissions. You can actually specify what kind of information you want to receive from Facebook, and what information you want to pull from Facebook. So you can see I've specified an email, publish actions, that is to create posts, create comments directly from your app, not from Facebook, and stuff like that, receive notifications, and there are plenty of other permissions they can choose from, which I will talk about later. So as I said before, all application requests require an authentication. For example, you want to get your friend's information, you will require an authentication, which is what we call access tokens. So these access tokens actually form using this permission stream. You can see that there are many different permissions here. We are user, about me, that is very simple user information. You can actually access your friend's data, your friend's photo, your photos. For example, you are creating an application that accesses your Facebook photos. You will need to tick the allow the user photos extended permissions. So let's look at the permissions that are available. So I'll be using the Graph Explorer. So in the Facebook developers page, they have plenty of tools for you to debug your applications or to research or study more. So as you can see, one of the useful tools here is called the Graph Explorer. So if I were to click on the Graph Explorer, it allows you to access information from Facebook directly. So as you can see this is actually your URL where you use to input to receive your information. So this is actually a REST service. For example, in this REST service, I want to get your information about your name. So once you run this query, you are able to get your name. So the permissions I was talking about is here, because each access token is unique and it depends on the permissions available. So if I were to click here, we have all of the following permissions. These are your basic informations. These are your friends' information. For example, your application wants to receive your friend's birthday, just tick the friend's birthday. Do you want to access your friend's status? then you just click the friends status, then receive their photos, their relationships, their information as well. You can just directly through here. However, there are some permissions that are very sensitive, for example, your friend's photo. So these are all added in the extended permission. So if your application really requires the use of information, for example, you want to publish posts on your friend's wall through your app. For example, your app, you have done something on app and your app directly posts, hey, I have just did something on this application, come check it out, without the user directly typing onto the post status. These are all categorized under the extended permissions. So you can see there are plenty of other permissions. You can upload photos directly from your app, nothing to do with Facebook. You just directly upload, you will upload to Facebook itself. You can actually get SMSs, but unfortunately it's not supported in Malaysia. So you can read your inbox, you can read your mail, you can of course read your friend list and stuff like that. You can create events directly through your app. So these are very powerful permissions that allow you to do a lot of things on Facebook through your application. Now why do developers prefer to use this rather than ask the users to do it themselves? Because I'm sure that all of your applications should run on some sort of logic check or some sort of automations that help the users do something. You can directly use this service to allow them to post it to your Facebook, to prevent users from actually copying and pasting, doing a lot of manual work. So through this integration, you can directly communicate your application to Facebook without doing much work by the user. So these are all the permissions. So you can actually check your permissions through the URL here, developers.facebook.com/tools/explorer. So through this Graph API Explorer, you're able to see all kinds of permissions and do some experiments for you to get the correct service to return the results you want. Like I've said, all these services require an access token query string. Not sure many of you know what is a query string, but it's an extra field that you must append at the URL to access the service successfully. So for example, the following is a service, REST service to access the nearby Facebook, nearby Starbucks around this location. So you can see I'm accessing the Graph API through the following query. You can see that my query is Starbucks, type place, and this is the access token. Without the access token, Facebook will actually reject your request. So it is very important to have an access token, and you can only get this access token through creating an app on Facebook. So let's do a very simple demonstration of how do you actually want to post to your wall through the Graph Explorer. If you know how to do it on the Graph Explorer, you should be able to do it on your applications because it's pretty much the same. So this is a test tool to allow you to test your API requests to Facebook. So let's just try that. So in this page, let me try to create a request to post to my wall. So to post information to Facebook in the web service category or aspect, we call it a put, a PUT or a post. So we want to post data to Facebook, we will need to change it to post. If you want to get information from Facebook, you will need to use get. So these are common verbs on web technologies, especially on web services, that you will need to understand. So if I choose post and choose the field, for example, I want to post to my wall page, I just need to change this to feed. So this information on what to put in here is all available in your documents, which I will show later. So for example, I want to post on my Facebook page the message. So once I do this and I click submit, it will attempt to send the following message to Facebook, to my wall, through the feed connection, the feed node. So if I try to submit, you'll notice that I receive a URL below. I receive an ID. This ID is your wall ID, that means the comment you have posted. If I were to go to my Facebook account, you will notice that there is a new post created. You can see that I've just posted this on Facebook. Through what application? Through the Graph API Explorer. So just now I used the Graph API Explorer to send a post request to the server so that I can post my messages on Facebook. So this is an example of how you want to do it on your application. So the Graph API Explorer is what Facebook lets developers use to do testing. Usually when you want to do it on our real products or your application, this will show your application name. So this is one example of doing it. So this is how do you actually test it on the Graph API Explorer, and let's look at how do you actually put it in code level. So for example, you have an application that runs on web, for example, a very simple HTML5 application. This is how you want to post it on Facebook through JavaScript. So it's pretty much simple. The me/v is similar to the one that you saw on the Graph Explorer. The message is the one that you saw. So you just have to run this function. I want to request the feed by putting in a message test. Notice that the verb I use is post, so that I want to post to Facebook. So once I run this code in JavaScript, it will actually post to Facebook. So this is just an example to show you that if the Facebook response has no errors, then it will return you an alert saying that Facebook, the wall post has been shared. So this is one way of doing it web, and how to actually do it on Windows Phone and Windows 8. This is how you actually do it on C#. So I believe most of you will be developing on C#, and this is one way to do it. First, we create a HTTP client that is used to send and receive data from the internet. So you will need to set a HTTP content, and this content has to be empty because we are doing a post async request. So what is a post async request? It's the same as just now you saw on the Graph Explorer, the post command. So by putting your access token and formatting my URL, you will see that this is graph.facebook.com me/feed, and I said before you must include the access token. So you will, once this code runs, it will do the same thing as you saw just now to post on Facebook. So this is one way to post your data on Facebook. So let's look at something more generic, more easier, and is called searching. So now Facebook allows you to search a lot of data which is public use. For example, you want to search for places to go for dinner, search for places to hang out, search for people that you want to know, search for artists, search for celebrities, search for all kinds of things that you need to know. You can use the searching Graph API. So the Graph API search function is very simple. It requires you to access through the following node. You can see that there is a graph.facebook.com/search. It runs on a get verb, so you need to submit a get to Facebook to retrieve the data. So this is the format you will need to use. In this case, you see that Q equals to your query. For example, you want to search for the nearest Starbucks. You just have to input Starbucks here. And the type is what kind of type you want to find. You want to find a place. Do you want to find a person? You want to find something else? So this is the type that you can put inside. So this is a very simple example of what Facebook has demoed. For example, in this search places function, we are allowing to search for coffees, search for all places that has coffee at the following location. You can see that the center is actually your longitude and latitude. So imagine if your app requires to access information about the nearby locations, nearby hospitals, nearby police stations, nearby embassies or something like that. So you can use this function to do it and set your location. And this distance is your radius. Radius in meters and how much you want to search in the coverage. For example, in this, it's telling me to find all coffee places around this location, but in the radius of 1,000 meters. So if you want to increase your range, just increase the value here. So you'll do a search. So let's look at how to actually do this. on our Graph Explorer. Let's test this out. So let's go to the Graph Explorer and test the following function. So let's go back to developers, go back to your tools, go back to your Graph Explorer, and we'll do it again to search for places. For example, I change this to the following. To search, query, for example, just now was coffee, and type equals to place. So once I run this GET request, you'll notice that the following are the information returned by Facebook. You see? So I did not specify a location, so it searches the entire world. So basically, it just gets everything that matches what is coffee and something like that. I can put something more localized, like KLCC, and it should search as well. So you notice that the following are the information received. Kuala Lumpur City Center, you have the zip code, you have the longitude, latitude. Now you don't need to maintain this information because there are plenty of users on Facebook maintaining it for you. So for example, I am a restaurant owner, I own an establishment, and I want to let people on Facebook know that, hey, my restaurant is available here, you can find my maps here, there are discounts there. So usually I will create a page on Facebook, and using Graph API, you can directly search for anything and new establishments will come up immediately. So all of these information are managed by not you, by not your team, but by people on Facebook. This is what we call crowdsourcing, where they voluntarily help you to update information as accurate as possible. So these are some of the information you can receive. For example, businesses will always update their Facebook pages to provide more promotions and more branches and stuff like that. So these are all the information available to you. So although we have this information, you must ask yourself what kind of information is this? How do I actually use this information to present it to the user? I expect that most of you won't be presenting this information directly to the user, right? We'll need to format this data somehow in a more presentable way so that the users can interact with them properly. So in what we call in the REST technology, we call this as a JSON. This is a JavaScript object notation where it actually encapsulates your data in the form of objects. So as you can see in this data object, I have a category field, I have a category list object that contains many items. So I'll give you a very simple case study, a very simple application that utilizes this data. For one of the apps here, which is called the Travel with Friends. So this application actually utilizes Facebook to access places information. So as usual, to allow your app to access Facebook, you must authenticate your users first. So you are presented with this screen and you just need to log in. So for example, I want to do a search for location. So I just have to maybe I'll type Legoland. Just wondering where is it? So this actually searches Facebook through the same way I showed you just now through the Graph Explorer. And it actually parses your data, you need to parse it yourself and show it in a more presentable manner. For example, these are some of the information that is retrieved from Facebook. So you notice that the first option is a Legoland. So if I were to click on this information, this is some of the information I get from Facebook. Everything here is gotten from Facebook. I didn't put any test data myself. So it tells you the location, tells you what other information you can find, and some statistics for fun. So these are some ways you can leverage Facebook to retrieve data that you need to create your applications. So this is one example. So let me just show you a very simple source code that does something similar. So I assume that most of you will be developing Visual Studio. So now in my application, I've utilized the Facebook SDK so that you can so that it manages the connections to Facebook quite easily. So in this example, I'll show you some code level ways of actually trying to access data from Facebook. So just to demo you what it looks like. So if I run it on my local machine, so I need to log in first. So as you can see, all applications that require access to Facebook data must log in. Just click on login. And for example, just now you saw the search, right? So the same thing here, the search for coffee. So this is a very simplistic view of what you can retrieve. I'm just showing you the name of the establishment, but not logo information that you saw just now. So it's pretty much the same. So let us look at this following function. It allows you to search for the pages or posts, for example. In this case, let me just try and search for Imagine Card. So let me just find the Imagine Card page on Facebook for a while. My Imagine Card. So as you can see, this is the Malaysia's page. So I'm able to actually use this My Imagine Card to search for the wall posters on this page. So I just have to input My Imagine Card here, and it was actually show all of the Facebook posts by My Imagine Card itself. So your applications that require access to this kind of information, you can leverage on Facebook API to help you do it. So this is an example. So just let us go through a bit of the code to give you an idea. So let's look at the search Facebook places. You can see that I'm actually running the following query, search, and this is the keyword I put in. For example, just now I put in coffee, and the center and the distance. Center is your location. I believe you can search the internet on how to get location information on Windows Phone and Windows. So you can see that I run the client.get task as sync. It will return you a JSON object, which is what you saw on the Explorer just now. The following information. So through this information, I need to deserialize it into a class. So I'm creating a search graph object that actually has the following fields. So all of these fields are the same as what you saw on the Graph Explorer. So they will actually map the following data to a proper class so that you can manipulate and show to the users. So this is pretty much the very basic idea of how Facebook integration works, where you can use it for your application. So some sample documentations you can look at is the C# SDK for .NET. You can go into Facebook SDK.NET. There's plenty of different documentation on how do you want to deploy Facebook apps on your application itself. So next one is of course the official documentation at developers.facebook.com/documents. You can go through all the notes available for you. You can actually just go to the documentations here. Go to my documents. For example, how do you want to create a login? The login that I saw just now. Just click on login. You can choose it login for web. So it teaches you how do you actually set up your application to use Facebook, and to look at how do you actually search for places. Just search the documents, you're able to find. So as you can see, one of the stuff that I got from Facebook is the following. You can use these documents to learn how you want to leverage your data. Like the following, the searching functions that I performed just now is all of this. So you can search for posts, you can search for users, you can search for pages, you can search for events, you can search for groups, places, which you saw just now, location, topics, and advertisements. So through all of this documentation, I hope you are able to understand better and try to use it in your application itself. So that's all for me. Are there any questions that can help you with? Nah? So if there's none, just let me go through what my company actually does. So my company is under EasyPay, Australia EasyPay. So we have a product called the iConnect 360 and we are hiring for software developers, interns, testers and user experience. So what we develop we develop Silverlight and TVM, we're doing REST as well, Web API, MVC, JavaScript, Microsoft SQL. So all of these technologies we are currently using, and we are actually quite casual. I'm wearing this to work every day. So you can send me a resume here, and I'm sure that you'll find it very fun there. So if you need to find a placement invitation, you can contact me at the following address. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lim Shami. And if you guys have any question, Mr. Lim Shami will be here for 1 more hour, so you guys can feel free to look for him for any assistance. Up next, we have Mr. Oi Kin Shan to share his experience on the Imagine Cup. Since he's the ex-Imagine Cup winner and Microsoft Student Partner Worldwide Social Media Team. Please welcome Mr. Oi Kin Shan.
Hi, good morning everyone. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is King Xian, or usually people refer me as KS. So I'm invited today to share about my past few years experience in America. You all both as competitors, and I'm basically to tell the story of the competitors during the worldwide. So don't worry, my slide don't have any quotes. None of the word is more than 10 words. So if you guys feel a little bit stressed for the following teachings, maybe you can spend some time listen to my wonderful stories throughout the journey. So my journey started in 2008. So, quite a number of years ago, where the seniors and lecturers tell us how wonderful Imagine Cup is. When that time our seniors managed to win the Imagine Cup and go to the worldwide final in Korea. So they share a lot of photos with us, inspire us, and eventually my seniors after graduate, they start their own companies, do their own projects, and that inspires us to join these wonderful competitions. Sorry. So in 2009, when the worldwide final will be at France, so the best of all, why free trip to France? Why not, right? So me and my friends are getting up like, let's do something for it. I mean, we want to try for it no matter how hard is it. Oh, by the way, I don't even own a passport at the time, so it's like super excited. So we spend a lot of time develop our systems. That time is not even the projects, not even our assignments, it's not even our final year's projects. Four of us sit down and come up with the idea and try our way to learn C#, .NET. That time, what we know only is C++. So we don't even have workshop like you guys. So we work our way throughout to learn how to create beautiful projects. We even practice for our presentation over and over again. One of the key reasons why we practice so hard is because we know one of our seniors team is in the competition as well. They previously won the third place. So imagine the pressure you have from your peer competitors. Wow, they definitely can do better with us. So what we have our feeling during the time joining the competition is we will do our best and get the experience we can, so that we will come back again. But in fact, we actually did it to secure the first place. If you can see, four of us, the faces is not showing very happily because we didn't sleep for the last night. We actually have hotels with enough bed for everyone. In the end, I was like sitting in the corner, like my friend telling me, "Kingsat, your turn to present." So four of us, 3 of us is actually sleeping on the floor, while the other girls went back to her room and sleep again. So we practice. You can see how many time we spend to practice the presentation and spend. So we won the first prize and go to the world final. But the next challenge is even bigger. Now we need to defeat 100 plus teams. They have won the champion in their own countries. So they are best out of the best, and we need to beat the best out of the best. We did our very best. We improved the system because we still have time between the national final and worldwide finals. We improved the presentations, business plan. We asked Microsoft and wherever we can to help improve our system. But we didn't manage to do it. Although we know it's hard to defeat 100 plus teams in the worldwide finals, but we didn't. We didn't manage to win. But we do feel kind of sad for it because we should do something for our own Malaysians. So for your information, during the worldwide final, each of the team will carry our own flag, just like Olympics. Each of the team will carry our own flag, so you feel a sense of pride for representing your own countries. Just like for you all now sitting here, you should feel proud. You are now representing your university because you are the best out of the best of your university now. I put some what we learned during 2008. The judges comment our presentation was not good enough. We spent time practice and practice again, but it's still not good enough. One of the key reasons is we only have one presenters, while the other three sitting behind doing the demo and clicking the slide. So a lot of judges commented they want to see 4 of us presenting. So in the worldwide final, we actually see how the champions, winners, how the way they present. They involve all their team members. So when you look at their presentation, it's like a stage movie or drama where the pace is quick and judges is not bored. So they usually use the technique called role playing. So someone will act as a, for example, act as teachers, and another acts as a student. They're explaining for their education projects. So they give a sense of judges what scenario can this application put into. So this is will bring more information to the judges where your application can apply, and it make the presentation more lively. Next, our research data is not enough compared with what the others have. So I bet you guys have a lot of questions from the judges, how you validate your methods, how you validate your problems, stuff like that. So a lot of teams come up with things like, we have these problems, we actually go, for example, the champions doing something about the farming systems, they actually go to ask the farmer what is the problem they're facing at. The problem they're actually facing at is water crisis, where every year 1 or 2 farmers will actually suicide because of water crisis problem. That's a huge problem that shocked everyone. So the openings was very good, and they have data to prove it, and they managed to approach other industry players, give testimonial about their system, and they actually implemented the system for trial. So they have a very solid test data compared with us, where we just develop the system, just asking our friends around. So they have much more research data compared with us. So the other thing I learned in French didn't took a long time. We actually spent 3 hours sitting there for dinners, and you can see I'm actually sitting at there already. This is after the presentation, while the Microsoft staff is trying to deal with us because the announcement was already announced and we didn't manage to get to the next round. They bring us for dinner, but we didn't expect the dinner to last so long. So, our next trip, which we target in Benchmark 2009. So, we are very confident that with all our knowledge gained from worldwide final, we definitely can do an even better result in Egypt. So, we give our very best shot. As you can see, we are doing a health care system, vaccination related system. As you can see, 3 of our team members actually dressing up as a doctors, 1 dressing up as a patient. So, real doctor clothes. Okay, we borrow from 3 doctors. So, it gives a very strong impression to understand. Wow, I mean, they spend a lot of effort into doing their presentations, and we really have to act like doctors, what's the problem they are facing, and what is the solution we can help to solve their problems. But unfortunately, although we are very confident to win, but we didn't manage to go in 2009 for the national finals. We only managed to get second place. So this proves that yes, confidence is very good, but overconfidence is not a good thing. So I mean, what I want to tell you guys is, yes, a lot of people might complain that other countries have experiences competing in this competition, but that is not very relevant. So you need to do all your best. Definitely, we are not stopping there. We actually ask every judges what actually happens. So what we get feedback from the judges is our system is too complicated compared with the first champions. So we actually try to fuse 3 systems together instead of 1 system. So we are actually doing too much because we want to achieve something big. So in the end of the day, the judges didn't get all what we want to deliver, and that's one of the reasons we didn't manage to secure the first place. So focus, try to solve a problem at a time, not all. So sad. We didn't manage to get it, but there are still a few awards we call challenges that haven't due. So we please submit every challenges available online in the invention cards, and we hope that we can secure places. And yes, we did secure a award called Design for Development Award, where the competitions you need to develop a solution for your local problems for developing countries only. But we tell ourselves we cannot relax. One of the reasons is the champion team also went into the same category. And we also learn from our previous experience that this is not going to be easy, because we also know that the best out of the best from other countries joining the same competitions, just like last time. But in the end, we managed to do it. This is the first time Malaysia won first place in design for one of the awards, and the other teams actually took the third place. So we actually take home 2 awards that time. One lesson I learned from that is, no matter how many teams you go, each person is carrying a flag. We actually don't have flag enough during on the stage aside. We 2 teams share. But I'm not here to show off what I did, but I'm here to share what we learned in 2009. We actually go after each judges to learn the comment of what actually is doing good, what is actually doing bad. One of the key reasons is they like our presentation a lot. So during that time, I was dressed as a doctor. So my role in the presentation, and my name is called Dr. O, where all the judges still remember until the last day. So they will call me Dr. Hey, Dr. O, Dr. O. So what we do is, our presentations is, I actually act as a doctor and throwing vaccination card out of frustrations. So it's a very dramatic move, like where you can see only in the movie and stuff like that. One of the key reasons is we managed to attract one of the judges, which didn't actually concentrating in our presentation at all, because he was quite busy. But because of our dramatic move and many surprises in our presentation, we actually caught his attention. So in the end, throughout the presentation, we will actually focusing on what we are presenting. So this is one of the key reasons we won, because he actually focusing in our presentations, but not the others. So you need a way to capture judges' attention throughout the whole presentation, not one them up. Another thing, solve the problem around what my system do is previously is SMS reminder system for vaccinations to remind patients to bring their children to get for vaccinations on a timely manner, so that we will solve the problems of forgetting vaccination. So it's actually a web-based system plus an SMS system. To you all, this system sounds super simple, right? I can see it. Either some of you have a very complicated algorithms, stuff like that, but the key difference is the presentations. You need to tell the story, deliver what you have and what the problem can potentially can solve to the judges. From the competition, I learned that Evangelica is not just about trophy and prizes. There are a lot of things you can learn, no matter you win or you didn't manage to get through. So in Evangelica, we always have a term called everyone is the winner. So after the competitions, I'm lucky enough to get invited to MSP, where I get to MSP social media teams, where I can go to the worldwide final 2 more years to report on how's the student doing as a student point of view. So I managed to go to Evangelica 2011 at New York and Evangelica 2012 at Australia. So a lot of people are actually asking me, so after ran for 4 years of Evangelica, what's the key difference between our Malaysian student and the others? Why they won so many competitions but not Malaysians? So a lot of people is first key question, are we not good enough as them? My answer will always no. What they can do, we can, and you all can. Trust me. And we have one potential advantage compared to them. We can speak more language than compared with them. Imagine a lot of team members who go to worldwide final can't even speak English. What they have compared with us is they have passions. They have a lot of passions in their system, themselves and their countries. One example, I meet a team from Japan where they develop game system. None of them can speak English. None. But their presentation is in English. So what have they done? They remember every single word of the presentations in Japanese word. So basically they don't understand what they are talking about, and they manage to do a presentation in 25 minutes, all in English. So the determination and their passions in doing to make this thing success. Focus. It's not a lot of people. It's not coming out with the project in 1 month or 2 months. They are actually focusing on what they want to achieve. A lot of them are actually, if Evangelica, you can actually see a lot of them is like coming in Evangelica at least 2 times, because they didn't manage done it the first time, and they want to challenge it again. They're focusing on what they want to do, and this is not other thing else. Presentation, as I said, a lot of us using a technique called role playing. You can see a lot of funny, very, attractive presentations. One Australian team even bringing one balloon, kangaroos, bringing up to the stage, and this is one of our team members. It's like cheering up the whole, everyone, changing the mood of the judges, and a lot of stuff. And I want to share with you all is, one year I saw top 6 software design presentations. It's actually from New Zealand, while the main presenter is girls from Malaysia. So their application is very, very simple. The application is about food that captures image and is designed for visual impaired people. They can randomly capture the pictures, and with crowdsourcing, they can identify what is the item. It's not some complicated AI that determines what is the object, but it's using crowdsourcing, social media, people feedback to get what is inside the picture. But they managed to get all the way to the top 6 with their presentations. The girls is actually passing around a blindfolder for all the judges, and for the judges to take the blindfolder, put it on, and they tell a story, a 5-minute story of the life with visual impairment. Very touching. And after the story, they call the judges to take out the blindfolder, and she gave away the blindfolder for the judges. She wants them to remember the feeling of visual impairment. So it was very touching. If you guys don't trust me, you can go and search in the videos. It's in 2001, 2. So presentation made a key difference, although it's just a very simple applications. Networking. A lot of students join Imagica. It's not just about prices. They want the networking. So as you guys came here, you can meet a lot of friends from other countries, but you also can meet a lot of people from the industry area. For example, your judge. We can actually, all judges are actually willing to talk with you guys, share with you all the experience. If you need further clarifications of what is your problem, they are actually happy to share with you. As you guys know that presentation, the given time for Q&A is just 10 minutes. We have 3 or 5 judges, we don't have enough time to share the information with you all. So if you take the chances to go talk to the judge, you can get something. And if you didn't manage to win the competition, but you have an aptitude in the industrial people. Business opportunity. As I said, my senior, after winning the competition, they go start their own company. Well, that doesn't mean those who didn't win can't. I have a friend that didn't manage to win the first prize. In fact, he started 3 companies instead. So it's what you learn inside Imagica. Right? And a lot of people, why they are so passionate and focused in their own projects during Imagica, because what they see is the business opportunity in their own products. So you won't simply chin-chai present your business just like your assignments to the judges, right? So it's to them, every presentation is a funding, a chances to get funding. So they put in all efforts they have, and because they want this business opportunity. And although I did some success, some did not, but those, although they did not success creating their own business, but what they do after that is like joining big corporations like Facebook and Microsoft. So this is, Imagica is a new, a way for you to achieve something even better after your student life. I came across this word and I find it's very meaningful to share with you all. If you want to do something you've never had, then you must really do something that you have never done. So, every one of you have done something that a lot of people never done by joining these competitions. So, now you have achieved something that not everyone has achieved. So, what's the next step ahead? So, this is not something that I can tell you, but you need to discover it by all by yourself. So, how far the journey you can go is depend on how hard you actually try to get through. So, I think this is my last slide. So, we do have extra time, right? Any questions? Oh my God. I bet questions. Yeah.
So, kids, you have any question for kids? You've seen a lot in finals. You also a judge now, why you don't have a question to ask him?
Did I scare someone during the judging yesterday? I think yes, I can see smiling face from their faces.
Okay, so I do agree with some of the Kingsang's point. This is not just only a competition; it's more than a competition. So I hope you want to sit together with the whole table, try to mingle around the other team to build out the network. We have a few campuses here, which I think you can leverage maybe of them, some extra idea or some extra competition, next effort and so on. So what actually others team, okay, based on my experience, I attended once Imagica Worldwide Finals year 2010 at Holland. So I'm the team mentor. Okay. So what happened over there is what I said. I personally feel that makes others country actually become a success of Imagica is their team member is not just from one campus. Okay. Let's say 4 members, 4 of them coming from different campus, different university, and they form the team. So in Malaysia, we have university that focus on their own core industry. For example, like USM will be more on research. UPM is more on UPM focus on what their core. Agriculture and so on. So if let's say your system is about agriculture and so on, then you might want to involve UPM students to come in. Maybe let's say you are involved on medical one, maybe you can get those private university that focus, or maybe when you need offer.
When I do my project for medical system, I actually approach USM, Hospital USM in Kelantan for advice from the doctors.
Yeah. So it's not about just your own uni. Okay, you can collaborate with any other uni. So if let's say next year you want to compete again, this is the time that you can scout for new talent. I'm not saying you'll be asking you to betray your own members. Okay, you can maybe ask them whether they like to join your team next year or not. So far this competition has been 10 years and I don't think it will end next year as well. But then a lot of team that I see after the competition end, so what they do, they take a box, they put all their stuff in, they seal the box, and put at their storeroom or place at their storeroom, and they go look for another job. Okay, go apply for a job, which I myself feel you shouldn't waste your time by developing the program for maybe six months and so on, and because you lose the competition, you keep everything there. You go out and work. Okay? You should try to apply for some grant. Okay, for example, some grant, you meet some potential investor, pitch your idea again, and become an entrepreneur. We have a lot of government agencies here in Malaysia that support entrepreneurship. Okay? They have funding for you to apply. So, year 2008, his team beat my team. Okay, got presenting together. Okay, I'm second runner up. Okay, and he's winner. Okay. So my dream to France crashed when they announced his team beat on board. So what happened after that? Okay, I approached during the time I approached MDAC, okay, for funding. Okay, and after that I approached few agencies funding, and end of the day, one of the finally I'm able to convince one of the agency to give me the fund and to further develop and further research my project. So what I want to share with you is the things doesn't end this evening after we announce who is the semi-finalist. Okay? I know some of you will be disappointed, but it doesn't end there. You can always approach us and we can give you the guide you what else you can do with your project. Okay. Any other things you want to add on?
Any questions?
Yeah, any question from the floor? By the way, Shang-Yi is still here for another 30 minutes. If you have any Facebook related coding problem, you can look for him. Okay, nothing okay. Others? That's it, are you ready? Okay, so I pass back the floor to the next presenter. Thank you.
Last but not least, let's invite Mr. Aswin Chandrasuwan. My apologies if I don't pronounce it properly. And he's the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, and he will be giving a speech regarding about Windows Azure Mobile Service for Windows Store and Windows Phone. So can we have a round of applause for Mr. Aswin Chandrasuwan?
Yep. Hi. Good morning, guys. So, just gonna do it quickly. and suite for you guys. Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Aswin. Okay, I'm Microsoft MVP in Windows Expert Consumer, right? Then after that, I'm the MCT as well. So here's my email. Let's say in case you guys need to ask me about Windows Azure or even Windows 8 related stuff, right? So basically, the concept for Windows 8 and Windows Phone is almost similar. It's just that the real estate or the view state is a little bit different today, right? So okay, typically, how many of you guys over here are building Windows 8 or Windows Phone together with database, for example? How many? 8, right? So the problem over here is that typically for students and all those, you guys really need to actually create a web services, right? A web services. So what I can say is that for you to actually create web services, which we're going to take a look at later on, is going to be a bit troublesome, right? So because you need to create your own web services and you're gonna do a lot of coding and then wire up all together, all of the functionalities all together, right? So that's very complicated for you guys. If let's say you guys are passionate enough, I think you guys can actually come up with a very quick prototype before lunch actually, right? So I hope you guys can actually just take a look at how you guys can actually do some simple functionalities inside Windows Azure mobile services itself, right? So I don't have much light, so I'm just gonna jump into the coding part right away. Right, so typically for you to actually create your own WCF services, or you create your web services, right, there are actually two ways. So for Windows Phone or even Windows 8, right, so you cannot connect to your database directly, unlike you have your Windows Phone or your WPF application, right? So you cannot connect to database directly, so you need some form of web services. So in Microsoft platform, right, there are actually two main platforms for you to actually enable the web services. So which is one of it is ASP.NET Web API, and then another one will be WCF. Okay. So these are the two main platforms. So over here, what I have, right, is a very simple application. So the Web API application. So you can see that over here it is actually based on MVC controllers. Right, this is this is the controller that I have created. Yep, the version controller. Okay, so what does this controller actually does is that it will actually pull data from my local database in this case. So the scenario that I'm gonna give you guys is that I'm gonna create a typical way of having web services with my Windows Store application. Then after that, I'm going to migrate it to Windows Azure mobile services. And let's take a look and compare how easy it is to actually do coding inside Windows Azure Web API, Windows Azure mobile services. Right, so typically for you to actually create your Windows Azure, Web API, right, ASP.NET Web API. So it's kind of easy, but of course you need to do a lot of codings for yourself. Right? So I can just go to ASP.NET Web Application. Then for you guys actually just choose Web API in this case. If let's say you guys were to choose WCF, it's all up to you. Right? So I'm gonna choose Web API. Gonna take a while. My laptop isn't fast enough. Okay, so the first thing, of course, this is your typical MVC application. Then what we're gonna take a look at is actually this Solution Explorer over here. So you can see that from the model part over here, we haven't actually put in our classes or any related data to actually connect to our database. So how to actually connect to the database locally or even to Azure, right? The easiest way, of course, you can actually use EDM, entity data model. Right? I can right click on the models over here. Sorry. And I choose ADO.NET entity data model in this case. Right? For example, I'll give a name to the file, present. Then this is where I can actually choose how can I actually create my model, right? So typically for you guys need to do a lot of codings for you to actually specify the classes for your or the models for your database itself. But I can actually just generate from database, right? So I created earlier the database table that I have, and what I'm going to do is that just wire up to my local database in this case. Next. Okay. So over here I can actually choose whichever table that I wanted to actually import into my project. So over here I'm just going to import the table version. It's a very simple application. I have my model over here, EDMX. So what I can actually do next is that I wanted to actually create APIs, right? Because we are actually creating web services in this case. So I wanted to create a specific controller to actually pull data from these particular tables, right? So I just click on the controller, then after that I choose Web API to controller detection using entity framework, right? So what they will do is that they will actually read from the entity data framework. Then after that, they will just wire out the templates for you guys to actually pull data from. So I click on add over here. So I'll name my controller name and choose my model classes and my data context classes. Try to review, there's some error over there. So you can see over here is that inside the person controller, you can see that they already created specific works, or they already wired out some of the HTTP works for you to actually pull data from, right? Just like your typical web services, right? So for example, over here, I can actually get the data from the person, right? So they will find according to the ID of the person, for example. Okay. So what I'm going to do is that, of course, I'm just going to debug my local host over here. And the first thing that you need to make sure, of course, you need to make sure your web services works first before you actually wire up your Windows Core with your web services. Okay, so click on API. And you can see that they actually tell you some of the documentations, right? What are the things that you guys can actually create or actually pull data from. Like for example, like I want to get from API/person, right? Person ID, etc. Right? So what I'm gonna do is that just a simple one. So I'm just gonna just pull data from the database. API/example person. Okay, so by default, right, in Web API project, they actually will generate JSON data, right? So that's a typical way of they actually represent data in this case. So as you can see over here, so once I do a get into the API, so they will actually generate JSON file for me, right? The person.json. So let's say I take a look into the JSON file. So you can see the information about the users inside it, about the person. So next thing is that, of course, we're gonna take a look at how you can actually consume these services, right? So I already built up some of the things early on. So I'm just gonna comment out some of my codes first. Okay. So in Windows 8 or Windows Store application, right? So how you actually want to interact or how you can actually pull data from your web API in this case, or from even from your web services, right? So what you guys can actually do is, of course, by using the HTTP client over here, right? HTTP client. Then after that, you have to actually serialize your data, right? So what I've done over here is that I connect to my web API over here, which is based on localhost in this case. And after that, I go and create a HTTP client just to make a connection to my local web services, the web API. Then after that, over here, so this would be the connection to it. Then after that, I'm going to serialize because they already transfer the JSON, right? So what we wanted to do with the JSON file, right? So what I have done is that over here, the JSON, I will actually serialize it into the list. Okay? And after that, pass it into a collection itself. So this is just a few lines of code for you guys to actually do it. Then after that, what I do is that I do a binding in this case. Okay. So I have my list that actually bind to my collection. Okay. So let me just run the application and then we'll take a look at how the application actually looks like. Try to debug. Okay. So there's nothing to debug actually. So because I have to start up my web API project first. Right? So that's important. So I haven't started up my web services yet. So that's why there isn't any data to actually pull it from. So you can see see that this is what I have displayed from the database itself. So this would be, of course, the name and the age of the participants over here, right? So I'm 22 years old today. So, just joking. Okay, so this is how typically you wanted to do to wire up your web API. Okay, so if let's say once you guys have ready, right? So your web API has ready, you can actually publish it to Windows Azure. Okay, so how you can actually publish to Windows Azure for your web API is very simple. I can just right click over here, right click and click publish. So of course I have to sign in into my Windows Azure account first. So what I'm going to do is that, of course, I need to, I'll go back to my Windows Azure over here. The first thing that I can actually do to actually host my web services, the easiest way for you guys to actually host your web services, right, is actually using websites. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly create a website. Web API in this case, and after that, I'm going to choose to create it in Southeast Asia. Okay, so what I have created here, right? So the thing is that we, just like your normal servers, so you need information about the servers to actually publish your application to it, right? So for Azure websites, right, they actually give you a very simple way for you to publish it to. So the important file over here is that you actually need to download the publishing profile, right? So this publishing profile contains information about your service or the Azure website itself. Okay, so I've downloaded it, and after that, what I'm going to do is that I choose import from a publish profile file in this case. So I go to browse and then find the file that I've just downloaded. In this case, the web API. Okay. So you can see they already fill up all of the server's information, the username, password, etc. So what I'm going to do is click on next. Okay. I'm going to connect to my database. Just a moment. So I can go to my database notes over here, and I can actually connect to my server. I'm going to get my server information first. My SQL Server authentication, and after that, okay, so there's some issue with this firewall. So what I'm going to do is unblock my unblock the firewall first. I'm going to test the connection again. There's no database created here. Fine. So, but maybe for this round, I'm not gonna just publish any any database yet. So I just click next and click publish. Right, so you just put in your information about your entities over there, and after that you can actually publish it to Windows Azure websites to actually consume your web API. Okay, so you can see that, so it has been published, so you can actually start consuming your ASP.NET Web API from your Windows Core application in this case. Okay, so the thing is that the next thing that I want to show you guys is actually what we call Windows Azure Mobile Services. That's the real topic about here. So you can see that there are actually a lot of steps involved, okay, for you to actually create a web services. Even though you see Microsoft actually helped you a lot with the templates from ASP.NET and WCF, but there are still a lot of work to be done. So the easiest way for single developers or even like students for you guys to actually create web services, of course, you can actually just use Windows Azure Mobile Services. It's perfect for you to actually connect different devices, right? The mobile devices in this case. So what I can actually do over here is that I can actually go to my Windows Azure portal, in this case, go to New, Compute, and then over here, instead of choosing website to actually host our web services, right? So what I'm going to do is that to create mobile services, right? So this is the one that we wanted to concentrate on, mobile services. So I click on these mobile services, click create, and after that I can actually give the name to my mobile web services. So just like websites and Windows Azure Mobile Services, one of the good thing about both of these platforms that they actually have a free tier, right? So you can actually create free websites or even free mobile services. So in this case, like for example, mobile services, right? So they have a free tier. Then after that, they allow you to actually create free 20 megabytes SQL database as well. So this is actually perfect for a simple application like for testing purposes or even for staging purposes or even for individual developers like you guys. Okay, so I'm not gonna create a free one because I have a dedicated database anyway. So I'm just gonna use my existing SQL database. Then I choose my region. Then over here, what's the backend is about? So JavaScript and .NET. So the thing about in Windows Azure Mobile Services, right? So you can actually run background scripts. What do we mean by background scripts? Background script is like your typical server scripts where you want to perform certain tasks. So typically, like when we have our servers, right, we will actually create console application to actually run certain scripts or even run our PowerShell scripts, for example, to actually execute certain tasks. So in Windows Azure Mobile Services, right, they actually support two main languages for their backend scripts, JavaScript and .NET, of course. So I'm just going to choose JavaScript anyway, so we're not going to touch on that. So just put in my database settings. So I'm not gonna wait because it's just like the typical cooking show, right? So I already created some of my mobile services early on, right? So it's already ready over here. So if let's say we take a look at Azure Mobile over here, right? Azure Mobile over here. So the great thing about having Windows Azure Mobile Services is that, of course, you can see that they actually support multiple platforms, right? So it's really open. So Windows Azure is really open. So you can see that over here they provide you with templates for different platforms altogether, right? So for example, if let's say for this imaging hub, you guys actually create Windows Phone 8 or even Windows 8 application, right? But of course, in the future, you want to cater for different platforms. So you guys can actually just use these mobile services to wire up it quickly. Okay. So let's say we take a look at dashboard over here. So you can actually take a look at the analytics of your Windows Azure mobile services. Then over here is your data. So data is where you create your tables, your SQL tables, right? So for example, I created earlier on a table person, and after that you can actually look into it, and you can actually set permission for your database tables as well. So for example, over here you can set permission for everyone to access your table, or anybody with the application key, authenticated users, etc. Right? So besides that, of course, in Windows Azure mobile services, you can create your own custom API as well. So we're not going to take a look into that yet. And scheduler, API and scheduler. So for example, like scheduler, right? So what I have done in one of our hackathon previously, right? So I use scheduler. What do I use scheduler for? Is that I run my background task. Okay. So for example, every 30 minutes, I actually run my background task to actually send SMS for my users, for example, right? So there are a lot of APIs that are available inside scheduler for you to tap on. Okay. So besides that, you can actually use do push notification to your users, to your mobile devices. So for example, it is actually quite complicated to create Windows Azure, to create push notification. If let's say you guys are using your own web services. So in Windows Azure mobile services, they already help you to solve that problem, right? So you just need to provide the application credentials for your Windows Store, for example, right? They also support Apple and Google push notification. So that's in the future. Let's say you guys have any customers that are based on that platform. So another thing about having Windows, having mobile devices or mobile applications is that you want it to be interactive and you want it to have a typical login page or whatever, right? So you have your login screen that for Facebook login, for your social platform applications, or even Microsoft account and login, or even Twitter, Google, for example. All of these are actually supported inside Windows Azure mobile services, right? So you just need to actually put in the API keys and all those. So what I'm going to do right now is that just still based on my application just now. So because since I already wire out my Windows Azure mobile services with the tables of my database in the cloud, right? So what I'm going to do is that so instead of me actually using all these complicated lines of code to actually wire up to pull data from my web services, so in Windows Azure mobile services, it is much simpler to do that. How? So the first thing that you need to do is to create a connection to your Windows Azure mobile services in this case. Okay? So you just call for mobile service client in this case and specify the URL, and then these are the applications key to your to your Windows Azure mobile services. Okay? So the good thing about having Windows Azure mobile services also is that you can actually authenticate your users, right? So you don't want anybody to just simply tap to your web services. You want to create a secure web services, right? So this is how you actually do it, or make connection to your Windows Azure mobile services. And after that, so after that, instead of me using the that person data over here, so I'm just gonna hide this. Okay, just gonna hide this. So what I can actually do is that I'll comment this particular line of code. And I just initialize these two variables, right? Mobile service collection. So I connect to my table, name person, and these are my classes. this is how I can actually interact with my tables inside Windows Azure Mobile Services itself. Okay, so initially when I actually load up my application, they will actually call for these methods, the refresh person methods. Let's take a look at refresh person method over here. So in refresh person method over here, right? So what I've done is that all of the collection or all of the data inside the table, for example the person table, I will actually put it inside a collection in this case, right? So to collection sync. So I can also just use any of the link queue queries to actually query my table. But over here, I just want to pump in everything into my collection. Okay, so I pump into my people collection over here and just do a binding to my list view in this case. Okay. Just build my application. I should see my data over here. Okay, so you can see these are the different sets of data. So these are data that actually comes from Windows Azure Mobile Services in this case. Okay. Then after that, what I'm going to do is that, of course, just want to demo how easy it is to actually insert or to perform CRUD, CRUD, right? Create, read, update, and delete in Windows Azure Mobile Services. So, like for example, if let's say I want to insert a person to my database, right, by using Windows Azure Mobile Services, these are the 2 lines of code that I need to do. Okay, pretty simple. So I specify what are the table that I wanted to insert into, right? And after that, insert my objects, right? The person objects. Then after that, just click on add. Then they will be inserted into my database. Okay? So these are just 2 lines of code for you to actually insert. So compared with your normal web services where you need to actually do a put work, HTTP work into your tables, right? So that's it's a bit complicated to be done. So these are for Windows Azure Mobile Services. What I need to do is just 2 lines of code over here, right? So just click local machines. So today I'm younger, so I'm 20 years old. I couldn't see my save button, so I just fix my unformal. How am I again? This today, 31, right? 31 years old today. So you can see that this has been appeared over here as 21, right? But bear in mind, I'm not doing magic over here. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can that this data has been really inserted into Windows Azure, right? So let me go back to my table Windows Azure Mobile Services. Go into it. Then where is my 21 years old? Yeah. Okay. So over here you can see that S21 has been inserted into the Windows Azure Mobile Services tables, right? The SQL database table. Okay, next thing is that, of course, I'm just gonna do quickly how you can actually create a Facebook login for your application, for my application, right? So in Windows Azure Mobile Services, like I mentioned, very easy for you to do that. So I can go to identity, and I need to actually put in my application ID and application secrets. Okay, so this is where you actually create connections or trusted connection to your Facebook login, for example. Okay, so what you guys need to do is that you guys need to create an application, right, from developers.facebook.com. So I'm sure you guys are developers. So please try to go to developers.facebook.com, right, instead of just facebook.com itself. Okay, so I can actually create a new application. So I can imagine some, choose a category, and application, create that. So very simple. So once you have created application, Facebook application, you need Facebook application to authenticate against Facebook. So I can just take the application ID from here and put it into my Facebook settings, and then the app secret as well. So just save the identity. So the next thing that I need to do to do Facebook login, right, in this case, is that over the code behind, right. So what I'm going to do is that when I actually launch up my application or my application itself, so the first thing is that I'm going to authenticate my users first. Okay. So call for the authentication async. Then after that, they will actually go to these particular methods. So inside these methods, right, so it's very easy. So what you are trying to do is that while the user is now, so that means there isn't any authenticated users, they will actually attempt to log in into mobile service authentication provider. In this case, I choose Facebook. So let's say you guys are authenticating against Twitter, Microsoft account, for example, you just choose accordingly. Okay? And after that, I'm just going to show up a message, right? A pop-up message that you have this login, right? You already login. Then after I'm logged in, then of course, then only I will be allowed to actually see my data inside it. So hopefully, just debug it. Hopefully, there's no errors. Okay, so you can see that even this particular page, right, this pop-up page for you to log in, so this has been provided from the mobile service SDK itself. So you doesn't really need to go and specify anything about it, right? Or just design or whatever. It doesn't need to do. So I have one error over here. Given URL is not allowed by application. So it seems that Facebook doesn't allow my application to be authenticated against it. So what I need to do is that I need to tell Facebook that please give permission to my Windows Azure mobile services in this case. So I just copy down the mobile service URL, go back to my Facebook developers, and then paste to the app domain and click Save Changes. level. Okay, click on website, site URL, save changes. Okay. Or go back. So you can see that the Facebook login is shown. Okay, so you can see right now that I have logged in. So this is my user ID for my Facebook in this case. So I just click OK. So this is how easy it is to actually enable Facebook login into your application. Of course, I haven't enabled a lot of stuff, for example, pulling data from Facebook users, etc. and all those. But in this case, what I've shown you guys is that how easy it is to actually enable Facebook authentication in this case. Okay. So Windows Azure Mobile Services has a lot more functionalities. So let's say we go back to our slides. So basically all of these are the stuff that are available inside Windows Azure Mobile Services. The authentication that I've told you guys, server script and custom APIs, you want to create APIs for you to actually pull data, send SMSs, send emails, for example. Right? So you guys can actually do that in server scripts and custom API, and you are actually interacting with your SQL database. In this case, you have notification, right? The push notification to various devices, Windows Phone 8, Windows Store application, and you can actually scale it out as well. Okay. So these are some of the APIs that are already available in the background task, which you just need to write a certain server script. So for example, like Twilio and SendGrid, right, they actually provide you with the send SMSs services and then the email services as well. Okay. So this is the life cycle overview for push notification for Windows 8. So I think I won't be covering this, but just theoretically. Okay, so your Windows 8 application, right, you need to actually request channel URI. So when you actually request channel URI, basically you are actually calling the notification client platform inside your Windows 8 application. And you will actually send this data to your cloud services, right? Cloud services or your web services in this case. So for our case, over here is our mobile services. And from there, the mobile services, since it has been authenticated with Windows Push Notification Service, right? So whenever you call for the send push notification call, they will actually push to your clients, all of your clients. So I think that's all for my presentation. Is there any questions? I'll be around. Okay, I'll be around. So just to give you guys some tips on your afternoon part. Okay, so just try to wow for Windows Azure Mobile Services. You can see that it's so easy, right? So try to create some, if let's say for those that are actually using social application and all those, right? Try to quickly just create a Facebook login, right? So I believe the judges love to see this kind of social interaction and all those. Just quickly create it out. Right? Doesn't need to be fully furnished or even very beautiful, right? So as long as it actually works, so I think the judge might be happy. Okay, so then after that, all the best for your emerging cup presentation in the afternoon, and wish you guys all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azwin. So like I said, you will be around here, so if you guys have any technical, difficulty or need some help, please feel free to look for him. And here I have a few announcements to make. First of all, we have the 2013 winner for the Imagine Cup, and they are the Switchfly, and they are having the booth over there. So please feel free to look for them, make some friends, and maybe they can give you some suggestion or any feedback about the Imagine Cup. And one more announcement will be, Mr. SC requested that all participants should wear the purple t-shirt you guys are wearing, some of you guys are wearing. And yeah, my suggestion, if you guys are wearing today, I think you guys should wash it for tomorrow. Yes, I know Mr. Dachin said it's a good idea to attract all the audience attention, but I don't think they want that kind of attention from the smelling t-shirt. So yeah, I would suggest you guys, go home and wash it up and have a nice smell so you can get the judges' attention. And yes, the lunch will be served shortly. So I will probably make another announcement once the lunch is ready. And from now on, you guys are free to do whatever you guys feel like doing. And we'll resume about 2:30 p.m. 1:30. Sorry. Now we'll resume at 2:30 p.m. sharp. Sorry about that. And you guys will be having your second pitching. So good luck and see you later. Thank you.